Hey everybody, it's Crypto Caesar Capital. Hope you are well. It's the 26th of February, and I am looking at the logarithmic MACD on the 1 week time frame for Bitcoin. Okay, I think that this is quite a bullish signal we're getting at the moment, and we can have a look through the history. Excuse me. We can have a look at the history and see what sort of signals we have got, as it were, in the past, and see how they have worked out for Bitcoin. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is the 1 week time frame chart for Bitcoin on the Brave New Coin Liquid Index, which gives us the most history on Bitcoin. And I'm looking at the logarithmic MACD, and the indicator ticker is LMACD. It's pretty straightforward. You just put it straight into your indicators, and it's LMACD, and you get it there. It's Chemist 698. Okay, it's a really good indicator. Obviously, you need to be using a logarithmic chart, and this is the logarithmic MACD. Now, what's interesting about the logarithmic MACD is, firstly, it has indicated the bottoms every time, pretty much since Bitcoin's inception, and it indicates those bottoms by the MACD line, which is here, the blue line crossing the orange line, which is the signal line. As soon as you get a cross of the blue line, which is the MACD line, over the signal line, which is the orange line, that indicates a bullish signal to the upside. Okay, this was the first one in 2011. The second one we got in 2015, which marked the bottom again in February 2015. That marked the bottom. It indicated that the bearish momentum had waned, that bullish momentum, or the bulls, were going to take over, and the MACD line, which is the blue line, crossed the orange line, giving us this bullish cross, and then momentum pushed to the upside. Okay, again, here we are in 2019. It gave the signal on the 18th of February. The MACD line crossed the signal line, and again, bearish momentum had waned and bullish momentum took over. Okay, now let's have a look. We got our cross around about September time. October, probably the 3rd of October, we got the cross, but unfortunately we had the FTX saga, and I think, and I've said this many times before, if we hadn't got that FTX saga, we wouldn't have dropped down to the sort of 15K mark. We probably would have held that 18K mark. But anyway, it is what it is. It gave us the cross, the bullish cross, and it was, in my view, right, because I think the bottom was in at that point. Anyway, that deals with bottoming now. But what's interesting when we look at this chart is that for the MACD to get bullish, you need to cross the zero line on the MACD, okay? And the zero line is right in the middle here on the histogram. It's between, of course, the red bars and the green bars, because it spells the zero line. Once you get a MACD line crossing the signal line on a very high time frame, it's generally a very bullish signal. What we know from looking at Bitcoin's history is that this signal has never been wrong, okay? Because these signals don't come along very often, okay? Essentially, there has been so far, let's have a look at them. In Bitcoin's history, we had one here. So we're looking at the blue line, the MACD line crossing the zero line, then the signal line follows up afterwards. But the most important thing is that the blue line, the MACD line, crosses the signal line, which is the zero line here on the histogram. We had one here in 2012. That marked a significant move to the upside for Bitcoin. We had another signal here. Okay, there have been no false signals so far. Okay, and we had another one here which marked that big move in 2019, and we are now super close to the MACD crossing the zero line on the histogram. The signal line, which is the orange line, will come behind it, okay? And that's why the signal line is quite lagging. But really, the signal for me on a higher time frame is once this blue line, the MACD line, crosses this 0 line, okay, that's the signal to me. That's the signal that there's going to be some pretty decent upside to come for Bitcoin, and it's going to go on potentially a decent rally. But what we're going to remember here is that this signal has never been wrong. And a lot of people can say, oh, well, I can see loads of examples where it's gone up and then it's come down again. Well, you're absolutely right. But what I'm talking about is where essentially Bitcoin bottoms out or drops down to minus 0.21 on the MACD. So it comes all the way down here, okay? And every time it's come this deep, okay, this deep in 2011, this deep in 2015, this deep in January 19, and again, this deep in July of 2022, that gives us a signal then that potentially the bottom could be in or close to be in, and then the MACD line starts moving to the upside. Now, it's important because it hasn't given a false signal, because every time it's dropped this deep, okay, every time it's dropped this deep and then it's moved to the upside and crossed the 0 line, then we've had significant upside. Okay, so this was 2011, came down to minus 21. Blue line, MACD line crossed the signal line or the 0 line, and then it went on a run. Okay, same in 2015, came down, touched it, went up, went on a run. Okay, again, 2019 went up, went on a run. Now we're going to have a deeper close look at this in a moment, but here is an advert from my sponsor, Bitget. And it's an exchange that I've started using in the last few weeks. And to be honest, I think it's a great exchange. It's very similar to Binance, deep liquidity. Anyway, check it out. With this, at the end of this video, I'll give you some promotion codes, but this is the video. Thank you. Okay, guys, yeah, that's the promotion. It's really simple. Bitget's an excellent exchange. It's very similar to Binance on its interface. It's got deep liquidity. It's very good for trading spot and indeed futures. And if you want to use my promo code when you join the exchange, it's just simple, lowercase a, lowercase u, 0, lowercase m. Simple as that. Okay, AU0M. Okay, and then you get lots of benefits. You get trading benefits, you get deposit bonuses, etc., etc. Anyway, let's get back to the chart. So what we're looking at again is the logarithmic MACD, and we're looking for it to, when is it going to cross 0? Okay, well, in my view, I think it could cross 0 in the next few hours or so, because we've got a weekly close coming on Bitcoin, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. But what's really interesting, as I say, about this chart is that essentially whenever the MACD and the signal line have come this deep in bottoms and then postured to the upside, okay, and the MACD line, the blue line, has crossed the 0 line, the signal line, that has always spelled some significant upside in Bitcoin's history. Let's have a look at the upside that we have got in the past before there's been any significant pullback. And we can look at to where the significant pullback is on the histogram. Okay, so I'm not talking the entire rally from signal to the end. I'm just talking about the first move in the rally before any significant pullback and what percentage that move was. Okay, so what we've got to do is essentially mark out where the MACD line crossed the signal line. So the MACD line is here, cross the signal line about here. So we'll mark that out on a vertical line. Okay, and then we'll look to where that peak was. The peak was, of course, here. So we'll mark that one out there. This is the one in 2012. Have a look at this one. This is the one in October 2015. So the MACD line crossed the 0 line about there. Okay, and then it peaked out. Of course, this isn't the entire move. This is just the first wave of the move when the MACD line crosses the 0 line. The top of the move was around about there. let's have a look at the next one. So this is 2019. So it crossed the zero line around about here. And it peaked out around about kind of here. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's measure these out now on the chart of Bitcoin on the weekly. So we've got our lines. We can just basically measure them out, right? We can measure these all out and see what we get. Now, let's have a look. So let's keep them in check. So this is where the MACD line crossed the zero line, okay, and then we had a significant move to the upside, 186%, okay, before it had that pullback, then continuation. This is where we crossed it in 2015, okay, it was around about here, okay, and then that was about 101% move, okay, and then we had, of course, the move in July of 2019, kind of crossed the line here, didn't it? Yeah, about 29th of April. Then it rallied up, didn't it, into June? A lot of you will remember that. And that was 147% move. Okay, so quite significant moves to the upside before there's any pullback. Okay. Now, I mean, you could add all of those together and then divide them by 3 and see what the average is. And maybe that might take us close to probably sort of the 50K region, maybe a little bit higher. But I don't think that that's going to help us really. But it might be an interesting thing to do, of course. But my point is this, essentially, when that MACD line, the blue line, crosses the zero line on the histogram, we generally speaking have got some decent upside, okay? In 2012, we had 186% upside before there was a pullback. In 2016, we had 101% before there was a pullback. And then in 2019, we had 147% before there was a decent pullback. Okay, so the point is that this is a pretty good signal, okay? And this signal has never been wrong, okay? Not once has it been wrong, but we've got to take into account the fact that Bitcoin has only been around for a short period of time and we haven't got a huge amount of data on it. But this is something that we cannot ignore, okay? And in my view, this is something else in the armory of the bulls that they can pull out and say, I think the bottom's in with some certainty, and I think that we're going to go on a pretty decent run this spring, maybe into the early summer before there's a pullback. All right, that's pretty much the way I see it. And that's the way I think that this move is going to happen. I pretty much think that we're going to have a move into the sort of 40, 46, maybe 50K region, and then a decent pullback to around about the 25K region. But we can deal with that in another video. Anyway, I hope you like the video. I hope you like my content. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for the following. Follow me on Twitter. If you want to join the group, description's below. All the benefits for Bitget are below. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening.